Hey everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you that are new, I am Maya and welcome to today's video and welcome to the channel. If you haven't already, please comment, like, and subscribe before we get into this so you don't miss anything. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. I think that's important, but let's get into it. I already did my base off camera. I did my P. Louise base like usual to prep my eyes, and we're basically ready to take on this palette. Before we jump into the palette, I do want to give you some information that I do know offhand in case you are curious. The palette does contain 10 shades and it is retailing for $45 before tax and shipping. I believe there is no physical store, it's all just an e-commerce brand, all just online. But the palette itself looks like this. I'm just covering the mirror, which also is included. But for 10 shades, $45, it's pretty steep. But for KKW, it's pretty typical, $45 for 10 shades. And 6 of the shades seem very neutral and nude. 2 of the shades look kind of grayish. There's a black and there is a navy color as well. And like usual, the shade names are not on the front of the palette, which is annoying, and I will keep saying it, but then again, it's not my palette, it's not my brand, and overall, it doesn't really matter. It's more so just the performance of the palette. And especially if you're not like a YouTuber and you're instructing and explaining the shadow names, it really doesn't matter, but for the average consumer, it's more so about the quality and the colors overall. But I do enjoy the typical formula of the palette. I do enjoy the aesthetic of the palette. I like how everything is embossed in the front. It's pretty cool. I do quite enjoy it, but it does look very plain. A lot of the shadows and the whole thing, it doesn't seem very appealing, eye-catching. It's just neutral shades, which a lot of people do have in general. But nonetheless, we're gonna see what we can come up with. It seems like it's only gonna be a smoky eye, that you can do anything like on the darker end, drastic end, but you could just use this as a regular day-to-day eyeshadow palette. But for the most part, her other palettes in the same way. There's a bunch of nudes, there's maybe a pop of color, nothing too crazy. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my Morphe 505 brush right here, and I'm gonna dive into the shade here at the top left of the palette called Porcelain, and I'm just gonna apply that all over the lid here. Normally I don't set my P. Louise base, but for this, I wanna try something a little different. So this is just gonna kinda set the base we got going on. And normally I don't set the base, but I want to try something different, so here we go. Just gonna go do the other eye and then we're gonna jump into the next shade. Alright, now that I have Porcelain applied all over the lid, I'm still gonna take the same shade, I'm still gonna take the same brush here, the Morphe 505, and I'm gonna take I think it's Clay right here, this kind of soft brown taupey color. Still gonna take that brush like I said, and I'm just gonna throw it right all over the crease very sparingly. These shadows do have a lot of fallout in the pan, I'll show you in a bit, but they're very soft, they're very light. So far no issue with blending. They seem like the colors that they appear to be. They don't seem deceiving like a lot of eyeshadows tend to have, where it looks darker in the palette or lighter in the palette, and then it looks the opposite when you actually apply them. But yeah, so this is just going to give us a soft, subtle brown shape and tone to the eye. So it's just nothing crazy. This is soft brown. So I think what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna take this gray shade right here. They both look a little graphite and stone. I'm gonna take this shade right here, which is graphite, and I'm gonna take it all over the crease, and I'm gonna switch brushes. So I'm gonna take my, well, is it the 505? This is the 505. I have 2 505s. I'm actually just going to take my Chanel brush right here. There is no number. It is called just the Eyeshadow Blender. And I'm going to take that shade Graphite on this brush and kind of just deepen it on the inner and outer part, but I'm just dragging it all over the crease. But I want it deeper on that outer and inner part here. And just windshield wiper motions, all that jazz. And then take it to the other side, and I'm thinking think I want to use this navy shade somewhere in this look. But we're just gonna blend this all out. I think I made it a little deeper on this side. Oh, I didn't mean to dip into the black. I'm gonna take that shade just a little bit more on this side. And then I'm actually gonna take that 505 brush and I'm just gonna smooth it out just a bit because we don't want any harsh lines, of course, especially when it comes to smoky eyes. We want it to be more seamless than anything because you're just layering and layering and layering shadows on top and it doesn't look too cute. So I'm gonna take my Chanel brush again, same shade, and take it just a little further. I think I'm gonna take it like just up into the brow because I want this sultry look going on here. And now I'm gonna take the black shade in the palette, which is called Onyx, right here, and apply that just like I have in the other shades. And I'm still taking my Chanel eyeshadow blender brush here. Take it to the outer and inner, pack it on, and then just lightly kind of finesse that shadow to the top and then work it in. Same thing to the other side as well. This isn't too complicated in terms of artistry, it's just a matter of blending really. So take it to the inner and outer and then same thing, just buff it out. So I'm going to take that 505 brush, my Morphe 505, and just lightly go over the tops. So these shadows, I can say right off the bat, are very light in terms of pigment. I mean, the pigment's still there, not that it's non-existent, but it's very light compared to other blacks that I've used, as well as some of the other shades. They're just very soft. Like this is black, this looks almost just like a darker gray to me, not a black. But to some people this can seem pretty dark anyways, and could be considered black, but this isn't the darkest black that I've ever seen. So this is not a groundbreaking palette, ladies and gentlemen. I think though I'm gonna take my JH41 brush right here, just a flat packer brush, and I'm gonna take the shadow, it's that blue shadow called Navy. And these names are not even like anything crazy, it's just so simple, like that's black, but let's call it Onyx. But yeah, we're just gonna take that navy shade, pack it right on the brush, and then take it right to the center. So I'm not cutting the crease or anything, I just want more of this blue concentrated here. And by doing so, I avoided the crease just a little bit, or not the crease, the center of my lid, to make sure it looks more prominent with the blue. And this is a very muted blue, it's nothing bright, but you can kind of tell it's blue, but once it's kind of in, like mixed with all the other shadows, it doesn't look too far off, it just looks all dark. So I'm just going to take my Chanel brush here like I did before, and then just blend the crease with the lid. So just like that. And then take my JH41 brush here yet again, and then same thing to the other side. And the key, like I said, to smoky eyes is just blending. Not clay. Sand, this is supposed to be, see, these don't make sense. Okay, well I'm just gonna take this lighter brown shade in the palette, that's what we're just gonna go with. And take the Chanel brush like I said, and then take a little bit of that, and then just kind of take it to the outer edge of the eye, and just soften that up so nothing looks too just dark. You just want it to be a slight blur, so then you can't see where one shadow ends and one begins. And it's softer, so it's not going to add more to the darker colors or make it muddy. But I mean, I do overall like how these shadows perform. Overall, they're not bad. It just doesn't look very wow, like, oh, you know, it's just like another nude palette or just another average eyeshadow palette. But I do enjoy it. It's not worth, what I would say so far, it's not, you don't like need this palette, but it is a nice palette if you're considering getting it. You wouldn't be disappointed, at least I would say so. But I do really like them, and I think the KKW palettes, to me, are like palettes that I just need to have. Like if I'm gonna stack and collect palettes, I mean that I will use, but if I like, oh, I need this palette, like I need this, like I need to have this set, or I need to have all of them, I do really like these palettes. Just a personal preference. So there we go, there's the look. So I'm gonna take my, I'm gonna take my Chanel mascara here, and I'm just gonna take it to the upper part of my lash line. And I could put like liner on the top to smoke it out, just have it a little bit more darker, because I would have this more dark, but I don't want to do that. I want to have this more about the palette, so you can see more of the shadows and whatnot. So you can leave it just like this and have like the shadow all on the top and then put some falsies there. But I don't know. I'm actually kind of liking this, but I want to smoke out the bottom lash line just a little bit. I'm going to take my JH43 brush right here, it's just this flat definer brush, and I'm going to take the shade, it's next to Onyx Graphite right here, and I'm going to take it to the lower lash line and just kind of pack it on just a little bit, and then I'm going to mix it with the blue shade in the palette, Navy. Just pack it on the outer third of the eye. Mix those two shades together. And just keep it concentrated just like that. And I'm going to take my Chanel eyeshadow blender brush here, and then I'm going to take the shade Clay, which should be this third one in the top row here, and take that to the lower lash line as well, just to kind of buff out the edge right there. On both sides, we want it to look very, very seamless. Okay, I just brought the shade on my lower lash line a little closer because the fallout kept falling and it looked like I was skipping parts. So I just took Navy and the shade Graphite together, like I said, and just mixed them and put them on my lower lash line. So now I'm just going to take the same Chanel mascara, take it to the lower lash line. Oh no! I hate when like it touches a little bit. And you should be set. Now you can apply false lashes at this point. I don't think I want to, just because I kind of like the way that it looks and I want you to see more of the blue, but I don't know, I do actually like how this is looking. Minus my little mascara thing going on there. But I'm going to go ahead and jump into my lip liner. So I'm going to take my NYX Lip Liner in Soft Spoken and just apply it to my lips. I'm going to take my Kylie High Gloss Lip Gloss in the shade Snatched right here and just apply it all over the lips. Alright, lip gloss is on, so I'm going to go ahead and take my Jeffree Star Morphe collaboration setting spray and set my face. Okay, so now that I've set my face, I'm going to use my Becca, oh, the sticker came off. My Becca limited edition champagne pop. I don't even know what's limited edition about. I think it's just the packaging, but this highlighting one, champagne pop, is still out there. It's just the packaging. But I broke it, as you can see, so I'm just going to use the powder because, oh no, it just fell yet again. I'm going to take my Morphe Rose Gold brush here. It's the brush that I always use for highlighting, and I'm just going to touch on the broken bits of my highlighter and just apply it because I want to use this highlighter, and for some reason I think it's just this formula. It's just so soft and it's prone to breakage, and it's kind of driving me up a wall. Every time I've owned this, it's broken. Take it everywhere that you would highlight it. Oh, I just scratched my lip with my broken, or my unsharpened NYX lip liner. I deserve that. So So I just take it right here, and then I'm actually going to take a smaller brush here, which is my JH42 brush, and take a little bit of that highlighting shade and take it to the brow bone. Because I want a nice little beam of light to bring attention to this smoky eye. And then I'm going to take a little bit just in the tear duct. I don't want to take away from the sultry inner corner, but I do want, like I said, a little bit of attention and some light by the smoky eye. And I think that is it. So you can definitely put on lashes if you want to. You don't have to. You can put on some thick lashes, but I've kind of been loving not wearing lashes for a little while. It's just been kind of my vibe. Also my laziness to go get new lashes. But this is the completed look using the KKW matte. Oh! So this is the final look using the KKW Beauty Matte Smoke Palette. I believe it's what it's called. It says matte smoke on the back. But this is the look that I came up with. And like always, I just want to get that out there. I do really enjoy these palettes, and after like using this a second time and not swatching it, just in general, this palette is, I really do like the quality of the shadows. But the only downside to it, which could be not necessarily a downside, but to some, there is a lot of fallout in the pan. So if I take this brush, for example, and I just touch it, there's all this like fallout if I just kind of just tap it, like, But I won't swatch these because they are just matte shadows. They're not creamy by any means. There's no oil in them to have them swatch really nicely. There's no shimmers. They are strictly just matte. So you'd still have to you'd have to actually use the palette before you can like judge whether or not they're going to perform well, or whether you think they perform well. But like I said, and I will say it again, this palette retails for $45. You only get 10 shades in there, and it is a pretty neutral palette, minus the black and navy shade right here. But it looks really nice. I mean, it's just very plain, very simple. So say you just wanted a palette that had maybe a black or a slightly darker shade or an adventurous color, there you go. It's pretty simple. It's nothing crazy, but the price is pretty steep for 10 shades. Like your Naked palette has more like 12 or 14 or something in that range for the price of 45 or 42. So even Anastasia has more than 10 shades, and it's at least 40. So it just depends on what you're wanting, or if you even use makeup a lot, or just how you feel about KKW Beauty in general. But you don't need this, and you also don't need any of the products that I used. There were always dupes, there were always other versions or things that work better for you. You don't need any of this. Only if you want it and you want to spend the coin. But I did enjoy it, and I do like the packaging on the palette in general. But that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Just go off in the comments below, anything. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. So, bye.